Okay, y'all, I'm going to take you on my experience of tiling our bathroom sink wall inside our Grand Design 29 RS camper. It wasn't hard to do, but I'll give you some tips from my experience. So I've made the first cut starting on the right hand side of the wall. So it goes around to the left. Because of where you overlap it, we want to make sure they are always able to overlap those areas. So I have the first one cut, and I have made a template for the second one because of the light switch. So all I did was put up my template, lined it all up, cut out where my light switch is going to be, and I actually cut a slit in the very top. And I'm going to do the same thing on my second piece of tile, and that way it will fit perfectly and you won't notice where it was cut. I'm getting ready to cut my tile. Make sure that you put your template the correct way of how the tile is going to lay on the wall so that you're able to cut out your template in the right spot. So I have just traced the actual hole of where the light switch is going to be, and I'm going to simply use scissors in order to cut that out. Alright, so I have my template cut, matching it up on my actual tile, and let's see if it matches. Alright, I think it's going to match up perfectly. I do not have any of these stuck yet because I just wanted to make sure before I actually undo the backings to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and do these first two pieces and let's see what it looks like. It's going to be a good match. Alright, it looks like my template is going to match up perfectly. So I'll need to do the same thing just right above here on this next piece. Alright, looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with it. I will give you a little bit of pointer. Originally, I thought that I would be able to get some of the tiles like underneath the door frame, because whenever you have the backing on it where it's not sticky, it does slide underneath it. But I will go ahead and forewarn you, once it's completely sticky, this is some sticky tile and it is not going to go behind that door frame easily. So I started off, as you can see here, where I did shove it a little bit more underneath this side of the door frame, but as I went up I was not able to, and so now I have this little bit of a, you know, the gap area where you can see it there. But I will go back whenever I fill in all of these extra little places that it says overlap. I will actually go ahead and fill in this here too. Alright, well, let's continue on and see how the process goes. For this second row, I'm actually going to attempt just to only pull up half of it so that I can make these pieces line up properly along the bottom against, you know, the actual counter, and then also against the overlapping parts of the tiles. Let's see how that works for us. Alright, once you actually get it started, it seems like that's going to work, but if you can see over here on this side, I've actually raised up a little bit from the counter. So I'm going to reposition it, unstick it, and just kind of reposition it, try to get that closed in and cover that gap up. Okay, so I came to the conclusion it wasn't not me. That's the story I'm sticking with. I'm going to say that it's the curvature of this wall. So I plan on going by and putting some more caulking around it anyway, because there is caulking on here, and that might be part of the reason why it won't go flat up against the countertop. So I will just re-caulk it and it'll cover those pieces up. But the actual edges matched up pretty darn good. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to measure the spot here. I'm going to go ahead and cut that down, and that way it fits in there perfectly as well. That worked out pretty good. I'm just going to continue along the entire side of the wall. And again, I'm going to cut out the outlet just like I did on the light switch. And then once I get over to the edge, I will pick up the video again and show you how I'm going to measure that and get that done. We actually have decided we're going to go all the way down to the floor on this side, and we're going to go down to the floor on that side to try to make it look complete on this whole wall. Okay, I am going to give another pointer on this curved area of the wall on the back of it. It is going to be easier just to cut off a little piece of backing, and then that way you can get that lined up against the countertop and then pull the rest of it off to match up. Alright, so again, I want to make sure that y'all remember to cut around your cabinetry before you slice the entire tile apart. I had made this mistake already, so this is my second attempt on this. Alright, it is done, and I am pretty excited. I actually think it looks pretty good. I'm impressed with the product. I would recommend it. I am going to give you some pointers and some tips of what I would do differently if I was to do it again. Just a few things that I think would have made it go a little bit smoother. But all in all, I like it. I think it looks good. Okay, so just a few quick reminders and a few tips that I would suggest. Don't forget to wash down your walls the day before, and that way it'll allow ample drying time. I found that it was easier to start from the right side of the wall and work your way to the left. I also worked in vertical rows. I went from the counter to the ceiling and then from the counter to the floor. The printed tabs would be on the left side of the tile if you want to do it this way. If you have an area that's smaller than the tile, I would suggest that you cut and remove both tab sides so that you have a clean finished edge on both sides and that you don't have to go back and fill in the tab areas with pieces. Although it would use more tile and take longer to configure the tiles, it would give a more hidden seam if you stagger the tiles. All of my seams are along the same horizontal and vertical plane. Use pieces of the backing sheet to make your templates in order to cut out the light and the electrical holes. Write the word front on the sheet so that you don't flip the template on accident. And don't forget that the edge of the backing sheet template will overlap in order to cover the tabs. So don't just line up the edges. If you're able to remove the molding and then place it back over the tiles, it will give a more finished appearance. Also, don't forget to remove the countertop caulking, and then the tile will butt up along the countertop nicely. Then you can just re-caulk once the tiles are laid. Don't forget to work slowly around any concave curves. They have a tendency to bubble, so smooth them out well before you proceed on to the next tile. Again, I used a product called Tic Tac Tiles. I ordered them from Amazon and they were $37 when I ordered them in May of 2020. I had to use 3 packs. I measured my wall area before I ordered and I knew that 3 packs would give me a few extra pieces in case I miscut, which I did. But I didn't have to stress about it because I knew that I had some extra tiles. And if you're curious, my color tile is called Como Bay. The tiles are cut very easily. I used a rotary cutter, a cutting mat, and a quilting ruler to make perfectly straight cuts. Those tools also allowed me to duplicate my measurements to multiple tiles and to be precise. Kitchen shears cut through the tiles in order to notch out the light switch and the electrical holes. For those, I cut a straight line from the edge of the tile along the grout line, then cut out the holes. You can't even see my cuts. These are self-sticking tiles, so no adhesive or grout is needed. It claims to be resistant to heat, water, and humidity. It says that it's an antibacterial and an anti-mold material. I'll keep you posted on my experience with that because I live in Florida with lots of heat and lots of humidity. This whole project took me roughly 4 hours to complete. The results turned out really nice, and I feel that the tiles give the appearance of a larger and a brighter bathroom. Good luck and have fun if you choose to tackle this project. Feel free to ask any questions or concerns below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks so much for watching Current Crash Pad.